It's I'm recording this. It's the evening on 4th of July. There's fireworks popping off in the distance. It's warm here in LeGrand, but not unpleasant. I just got back from a long motorcycle ride, and it's quarter after 7 now. Um, I was listening to one of Kevin Samuel's videos this morning after reading an article by Bruce Sterling in Newsweek. Sterling's article, It's Here, is a great look at the current mania surrounding AI and how it will eventually end in disillusionment, mature regret, and new monsters of our own creation. It's a great read, and I highly recommend it. I'll post a link to it in the description. Anyway, Sterling makes an interesting statement in the article. Philosophy is a determined effort to strip a complex problem down to basic logic. I think that's why I've enjoyed watching Kevin Samuel's videos lately. He had an amazing talent for winnowing down the complexity of intersexual dynamics to its fundamentals using logic and rhetoric. I'm not calling him a philosopher, but I understand his philosophy. We live in interesting times where practical social foundations are experiencing a postmodernist erosion. So, what's postmodernism? Well, I studied it at Portland State University as an English major. Uh, it's a philosophical movement that began in the late 1970s. The postmodernist philosophy rejects traditional concepts of logic, objective truth, and human nature. Postmodernists believe that there are no universal truths or objective realities, and all meaning is constructed by each individual. So it's basically flim flam. We're being fed it with a spoon. So what's flim flam? Well, anyone who's ever been to a carnival knows what flim flam is. It's when someone talks around in circles until you find yourself agreeing to things that make no sense and doing things you wouldn't normally do. Like a carnival, distracted by the color, pageantry, and chaos, you play games that you know are rigged, buy things you know are worthless, and consume things that you know are bad for you. Eventually, you go home broke, grimy, and a little ill without a real memory of how you got there. But you had an experience, right? So, postmodernism's foundation is flim flam. The successful flim flam artist always knows what he wants from the mark, and he does his best to keep that hidden. He masks his desires and uses words as a smokescreen and a whirlpool. The point is to keep the mark confused by quickly moving the goalpost, gaslighting, and equivocation. Kind of sounds like modern relationships, right? So, anyways, a good flim flam artist tells you everything is true, makes you believe contradictions, and quickly changes what you think is the target. After listening to Kevin Samuels this morning, I realized that we have internalized the flim flam. We are playing ourselves, and the proof is in the outcomes. Women have more freedom, but more debt. Men are more sensitive, but incapable of taking care of themselves. Obesity is healthy, debt is money, reality is virtual, there are no limits. Everything is abstract, there is no foundational truth. We all get to make it up as we go along, and here we are. The carnival is built to separate power from the marks. Flim flam is its foundation and purpose for being. So, I have a story about Flim Flam. I knew, well, a while, long time ago, back when I was in my darker days, running around doing my dumb stuff. I knew a guy called everybody called him Gouda if you were friends with him, but evil if you didn't know him. And he was the king of Flim Flam. He would talk and talk and talk and talk you into circles until you didn't know what he had, what if he said was true or what he said wasn't true. And if you asked a question, he would quickly shift, move to the next thing, change up, say, make a contradictory statement, and believe that contradictory statement was exactly what he had said before, and that you had misheard him. His whole goal was to separate you from the thing he wanted. Usually it was drugs, sometimes it was money, could have been something as little as a cigarette or a candy bar. He used the power of his mouth and the abstraction that's the abstraction that we take for granted, that reality is reality, and would use it psychopathically to achieve his own ends. And I learned that about him. And I actually kind of counted him as a friend because, for whatever reason, he tried it on me a couple of times, and I figured out pretty quickly how to stop it. And the way that you stop it and the way that you fight Philm Phlam and postmodernism is by doing exactly what Kevin Samuels does in his videos. You need to watch. Some people call him a misogynist. Some people say he attacks women, that he's red pill, that he's this, that he's that. But the truth is that he has a fundamental belief, or had, he's passed away now, had a fundamental belief, and his videos are really good examples of a man, a person, like, doesn't have to be a man, but in this case, a man standing up for his beliefs and expressing them through his channel in a cogent way, and forcing others that want to engage with him to do so in his frame. It's really fascinating. It's a really interesting way of, or it's a really interesting watch, and he's consistent about it. That's what's, for me, is really fascinating. From video to video, he uses the same tools and the same tactics because he has the same belief system that uh, women have been sold. Well, in this case, black women have been sold a lie, and that they're not engaging at a higher rate with black men in marriage and having children, and that the black community is suffering for it, may potentially um, not exist because they're not, um, because black men and black women are not having children via marriage at an extremely high rate. So again, that's one of his arguments. He has several, but it's just a really interesting way of battling Philm Phlam and postmodernism. So how does he do it? Well, he defines a position, slows the conversation down, states facts, and consistently forces a person to focus. That's what I would do with Gouda. Hold up, man. Stop talking. What are you trying to say? What do you want? Um, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not giving you any money. Um, let's focus on, what we're here for. Take a step back, keep them at arm's length, and consistently repeat that over and over and over again. And the reason why it works is because Philm Phlam and postmodernism both are abstractions. They don't have a foundation, and they fall apart in the face of logical thinking, just like any abstraction does, because an abstraction isn't real. It can be changed. It's an idea. It's in your brain, and you can use that. You can make that into whatever you want it to be. Watch my video on calories, and you'll get an understanding of the power of abstraction and how we use it, and take abstraction and turn it into reality. But both postmodernism and Philm Phlam are the same thing. They fall apart in the face of logical thinking and cogent arguments because they're both baseless. So, with that said, I drew a picture, used a Sharpie, and here it is. Thanks.